Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Steven Maslij.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? And Matthew Mitchell, how you doing today, buddy?
I'd be doing better if I wasn't coming back to you with an Eagles team that is now 5-1. But I shouldn't be complaining too much because 5-1 still sounds pretty damn good. But we are coming back to you guys this week with a loss. Unfortunately, we did fall to the Jets this past weekend, 20-14. Um, It was definitely a rough game. Probably Jalen Hurts' worst game to date, unfortunately. A lot of things went wrong. Some things still went right, although most people probably won't see it that way. So, jumping into it, what are your thoughts on this past game?
I think that everything that could have went wrong offensively kind of did. Toward just in terms of turnovers, not establishing a good enough run game. You have Devonta Smith dropping passes, uncharacteristic. You have Jake Elliott missing a field goal, uncharacteristic. I think it was just a combination of everything on and Jalen turnovers. It would just all like we and the worst part about it is we could have still won this game, right? Even if going down to what was it when he threw that pick with like almost 2 minutes left.
It
But
was less than 2 minutes, I think.
yeah, like it's one of those games where you're clearly the better team. You're dominating them defensively. It's just it's it's just one of those games you should win. You have to, but it just wasn't there for us that on Sunday, and it kind of sucks, honestly. First franchise history loss to the Jets. Today I didn't even realize that till they said it after the game. But we only played that was our 13th time playing them in franchise history. But nonetheless, the Jets it was just a crappy situation, I guess. I don't know what got over Jalen, but I guess we learn to move on from it. So, what do you take out good from the game? Let's be positive to start off this episode. Then we'll go into the negative.
All right. Well, on the pod, first of all, I got to start out by saying that I'm eating my words because obviously I came out in the last episode talking
You
about how
laughed at
this
that,
should
Matt.
be the easiest win in the season. It's because it's probably my fault that we lost the game realistically. But
You cracked up. You literally cracked up, and I was.
hey, man, I still stand by what I said because the offense did exactly our defense did to their offense exactly what I said was going to happen. We held their offense to 155 passing yards, 89 total rushing yards between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, with the highest one being at 39 yards. Um, we did to their offense what I expected us to do. So in theory, yes, we should have dominated, but like you said, the offense didn't hold their own. Unfortunately, this game. I do want to give props to their defense because their defense played a hell of a game in every aspect. They had starting corners that were out, including Sauce Gardner, who is probably the best corner in the league right now. And they did their thing. They played good coverage all game. They were swarming to the ball. We had trouble establishing the run game on them. We couldn't get anything going, and they were supposed to be a bad run defense. And they were just flying around to the ball. They looked like they were energized. We did not, unfortunately. So the positive things I do want to take away from the game, obviously, like I said, our defense played very well. Um, I did think that our backup corners struggled, especially Job. We struggled to guard Garrett Wilson, who it was very clear that Zach Wilson was just trying to chuck the ball up to him any chance he got, and he was still getting catches. So it sucks to see that. But outside of it, the defense played very well. On the offensive side of the ball, outside, I'm just going to ignore the picks for now and the turnovers and the miscues and whatnot. We're going to ignore the bad stuff. Um, I did like what they were doing with the pass game initially. They were picking up small chunk quick plays often and early, and they were moving the ball slow, taking up a lot of time of possession, but still getting down the field. And I did enjoy seeing that from our offense. I think that suits Jalen Hurts very well to be able to get the ball out of his hands quickly, and not have to make big time decisions like stuff like that. And I think that the biggest thing that hurt us this game was losing Lane Johnson in the beginning. As soon as we lost Lane Johnson, we started seeing pressure from that left side often. And unfortunately, Driscoll. It was Driscoll, right? Or was it? Yeah. Just making sure it wasn't Toth. But Yeah, Driscoll struggled, and it's hard for a backup player to come in with not a lot of reps against first team guys, and it showed, unfortunately. And luckily for us, Lane did practice fully today, so we're expecting to see him in the game on Sunday. But the injuries are catching up to us, which is something we didn't have to deal with last year, and we were lucky to not deal with last year. And you're seeing the difference in what happens. It makes a big difference when you don't have your guys healthy. And I'm hoping that a lot of these guys are going to be able to come back strong enough and healthy enough by the time it's really going to matter, and the teams that we're really going to have to beat, like the 49ers, the Bills, the Chiefs. But outside of those little dink and dunk passes that I kind of liked, now I'm going to jump into the crap that I didn't like. Obviously, the picks can't happen. Jalen Hurts knows this. There's not a big point in talking about it too much because he just made misfires and he screwed up. He made some bad calls, some bad reads, and some bad throws in general. So he definitely struggled this game, and I do expect him to pick it up. He's a leader. He has the right mentality, and I hope that he's going to, go back to the training room, watch his film, figure out what he did wrong, and try to fix it. So not a whole lot to say to him in that regard. But our play calling is horrific. That is my big problem. It'll always be my problem. I've been talking about it every week of the season so far. Our play calling is so bad. Like, Brian Johnson needs to get his shit together because these screens that we're not capable of running don't work. The play calling on third down has been atrocious all year. On that last play of the game, where we ended up on third down, we run the ball, and then on fourth down, we tried to take a shot down the field. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding?
It was
what for? What are you trying to do here? Like, what happened to the beginning of the game where you were just picking up slant routes, curl routes, quick out off the line routes, just out into the flat. Like, what happened to that? To just pick up the extra yards?
As much as you talk about,
by the way, sorry, since we lost the game, I'm starting to get a little riled up.
You're getting a little chippy. No, like you make it, like everything you commented about the first half, we got away from, and I don't understand why. It was literally run and then like try to do something stupid on second down, and then third down. Oh crap! Like let's try to throw it to AJ Brown. Like even when we missed that field goal, that catch was an incredible catch by AJ. Yeah, give him a shot, but like that's your play on third. That like just throw it up. Like they're backup corners. Like their defense was not like as much as they were playing well on the D line and their linebacking core was playing well. CJ Mosley had a great game. Their corners were not. They were playing a zone and it was just freaking annoying just watching us. Just I don't know why we were so. I don't even know what the word is. Tight. I just didn't understand the play calling at all. It just didn't make any sense. We didn't even like attempt to establish the. I mean, it's not like we were losing. Like it was very frustrating. Like you give Swift 10 touches the entire game. Yeah, Jalen had the most. Outside of Jalen had 47 yards. Yeah, Swift getting 18. You got Gainwell going for 13, and Boston Scott getting 2. There's 14 total touches. Like that just has. I know we weren't able to do it, but in order to get into play action, do we even run a play action pass? Like ever?
That's what I was. This is the point that I was waiting for you to finish to lead into, because the problem with Brian Johnson's play calling is that he does no sort of effort to line up his plays in succession at all. He has no plan. As one of our friends put it, he's quite literally just putting a dartboard with plays and just throwing darts at it because he has no idea. It's really crazy because he doesn't run the ball to bring the linebackers in and get them like into the box, which then after that you would like to throw over the box. That's how you set that kind of play up. You run the ball a few times to set up the play action, have Jalen Hurts roll out somebody across on a crossing route, or you use those dink and dunk passes to then set up the big shot downfield.
Make the corners come in.
He doesn't do this. He has no rhyme or reason to his play calling. He just calls plays. And it's screwing us. It has all season. The offense has looked stagnant because there is no setup in our offense. There is nothing happening to give us an easier time with a game plan. it's blowing my mind that we're just letting this happen, and there has been no adjustment made to fix it so far this season.
No, not at all. And then
we can't be the only ones noticing this. I know
No.
all the other Eagles fans are talking about it. How can we notice this? And there's no conversation about this shit in the locker room. Like, somebody has to give him, like, make him take accountability for his play calling, or somebody has to take accountability for the play calling because it's not there and it's not right.
the only thing he tries to do, and that we've seen work out, is just like feed the hot hand, like feed what play works, like feed like in the beginning, yeah, the dink and dunk passes were working. When at other games, for example, when we were able to run down their throats with Swift and everything, we just kept giving it to him. But like when you're having a game where you're struggling on one side of the ball or the other, like you have to adjust and you have to be able to. It doesn't make sense, Matt. It doesn't.
I don't think he knows what the word adjust means, to be honest.
I don't know if he can.
It's what it seems like. Because I've seen
crap, the run doesn't work.
Not a single adjustment.
Oh crap, the run doesn't work. Let's just keep throwing it deep. Like, what is that? Doesn't add up. It doesn't add up in your mind, my mind. It doesn't really make sense. You can't run the ball, so you just decide to keep throwing it deep and try to do this stupid crap. Like, can you bring the corners in and try to make the linebackers fly outside? That way, like, we can try to run the ball. It's the vice versa of
you use the deep ball. You use the deep ball to spread the defense out. Then you run the ball. Then after you run the ball, maybe you run a play action. Then after you run the play action, maybe you run the ball again. You know, I feel like this isn't rocket science. But like everyone's aware of
order. It's just so. It was very frustrating.
That is probably my biggest qualm with the entire team right now. I don't think I have a problem with the players at the moment. I have a problem with the play calling on both sides of the ball. I do think Desai has picked it up a little bit. I think that it helps that, as we talked about last week, the D-line has definitely been picking it up. They're starting to get their groove going. They're starting to, get comfortable in their spots and get to the quarterback. We're starting to see it more often. I still want to keep seeing it more often, only because of what we've seen them do before. I like to think they have more in them, but that's probably just me being a little overly optimistic. But yeah, I mean, we just need to see better play calling. So far this season, these coordinators on both sides of the ball just really have not been great. And to that point, like we said a second ago, there hasn't been any adjustments made on either side. They're just keeping going with what we have going on. And even though we've been winning games up to this point, it's looked sloppy every game, and everyone has noticed. Nobody in the league thinks that we're the best team in the league right now because we have not played like it at any point. Everyone's aware that we have the potential to. Every game, they talk about how we have not lived up to our potential yet, and we were still 5-0, which is awesome and all. But there has to be adjustments made to get us to where we need to get to get us to full form. It can happen. It's not just like there's no reason we should just go through the whole season at like 70%.
No, it's ridiculous. But the only thing you can do from a game like this is literally just move on, and just you have to learn from this that it's what you did wrong. Like Jalen will take. I know Jalen will take accountability in his part of his wrongdoing, which, like, honestly, that was the reason we lost this game. But in the grand scheme of things, like, it is the play calling. It's the little things that like actually matter. Like it's just frustrating. It's isn't that weird that we're not even like, you can't even be like, oh, like Jalen's picks, like, yeah, that's the reason we lost, but like that's not the reason we lost, because if we could just blow this team out, we should have at least put up 3 touchdowns on this team.
I mean, yeah, big shoulda, coulda, woulda is that, like, if the play calling's right, that Jalen Hurts might not throw those kinds of picks.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously that's me being an Eagles fan, being overly optimistic, but like all these things stem together. You can never just put the blame on one person. Even when, yes, it was mainly Jalen's fault. Everyone is aware of that, including Jalen himself. But you can always go back and say, well, if this had been done differently, if the blocking was better here, if the receiver ran this route crisper, like, it's a team effort. It's always been a team effort. So we can't really just put it on one guy. And I know I'm hypocritical in that because I love to talk about how Dak Prescott sucks and how he's going to drive the Cowboys into the ground. But I'm always aware of the fact that it's a team game. And, things happen, and everything has to be clicking all together for the team to do well. And that's just not happening yet. We're clicking in certain spots and not all. And, we'll have things clicking at one time and not clicking at another time. And we just need to put it together. So, hopefully Nick Sirianni has enough experience now to really sit them down and be like, yo, get your shit together. Like, we need to lock in and get in gear because we're getting into the hard part of our schedule now. It's not going to be easy. Like, from here on out, we are going to have a struggle for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And to be honest, once again, we talked about this last year when we lost to the Commanders, that you're almost happy when losses happen for the first time because you can look at it as a wake-up call. And, a lot of people say they wish it happened. Sorry, we had a connection error there.
All right, we had a conflict there. But sorry, finish your point.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, going into this Miami game, this is a game that's Sunday Night Football. We're wearing the Kelly Green jerseys. This is a game that we need to reel it back in. Like, this is all right. This is our team now. Are you ready to get in that game? I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miami, as good as they have been, and I know that we haven't played the hardest schedule, but Miami has not played a hard schedule yet at all. If you want to talk about the Chargers secondary, a horrible secondary. They barely won that game. The Chargers are a decent team, but their secondary has not been there this season. The Patriots, with Mac Jones struggling, they beat that team. They demolished the Broncos, but the Broncos don't have a defense. I don't know if it exists. You beat the Giants and you beat the Panthers. A combined record of 1, 2, 4, 5 and whatever, 27. I'm just saying and they play the Bills and then they get creamed. I'm not saying that this Miami team is shitty in any way. They have weapons and everything, but they haven't. As much as we haven't done anything, they have. Their offense does not scare me because of the teams they beat. If that makes sense,
that makes sense. I'm not going to go so far as to say I'm not scared of their offense because I am scared of their offense. They are so high-powered over there. The run game has been doing great. The protection has been great for Tua. Tua has been great. And obviously, it's hard to deny a wide receiver duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. However, my thing with the Dolphins right now is I think that their defense is very suspect. You were talking about the Chargers game. I just remember watching that Chargers game, and the Chargers were scoring quick and often. And it was impressive that the Dolphins' offense was able to keep up and keep the score up and, keep pulling away. But it would feel like the Dolphins would have these long, worn-out drives. And, you would see these long drives from the Dolphins, and then it would go over to the Chargers, and the Chargers would score right away, like almost immediately. And then it would be back to the Dolphins again. So if there's any chance we have to beat this team, we need to see the offensive adjustments from last game. We need to see it. This is going to be a big game for the offense because obviously we're going to need the defense to step up, but the defense is going to let up points. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game because I just don't see the defense being able to stop their guys consistently. Like, we'll do it in some big times, hopefully.
But we have to capitalize on those big times.
We have to capitalize on those big times. The offense has to step up and show that they're going to make adjustments to this past game.
No, I 100%
and,
agree.
There's no way for us to say that that's going to happen because we haven't seen them make the adjustments yet. But if we want to win this game, the offense has to play their best game of the season, plain and simple, because their defense is not that great, but their offense is going to keep them in the game the entire game. So if we want to win this game against one of the teams that's considered the best right now, offense has to step up and do their thing. They just have to. We got to get the run game going, establish it early and often, and just keep the ball moving. Hold the time of possession like we've been doing against some of the other teams in the league, where we're ending up with 15 minutes more of possession than the other team we're playing. Keep that pace up. Keep the drives long. And, last but not least, you got to get in the freaking end zone. Last game we did a little better with our red zone percentage with 2 out of 3, and that third being the missed field goal that Jake Elliott ended up having. But got to get in the end zone against this team. If you do not, even one lost chance at a 7-point turn is going to screw the team over. This is not a team we can make mistakes against right now. We need to kick it into gear and show what kind of level we are as a team.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I just think that our defense is going to be able to stop them multiple times. I see us actually getting into two a lot. I love how good Hassan's been playing. Reddick's been incredible since he got that whatever off his hand. He has 5.5 sacks the last 3 games that he had it off. He's been incredible. Milton Williams has been playing great. Sweat's been our D-line's been playing amazing. I know our secondary is a little suspect, but we get Slay back. I'm not saying ever go one-on-one with any of these guys, so that's what I need to see Desai do something. This is where I get a little nervous of what Sean Desai is going to do on the defensive end. Is he just going to play like straight? Are we just going to – they're going to run screens if we're playing the corners 10 yards off, which we've seen earlier this year. And that scares me. That's the thing that scares me is how do we play the secondary? Do you want to put a safety over top of Tyreek every single time? Are you going to play 10 yards up? Like, what adjustments are we going to make on defense in order to stop these speedsters and not give them room?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a tough call. I honestly, personally, don't really know the answer to that yet because obviously, like you said, if you take those 10 yards and let them do their screens, not only has that killed us up to this point, but they have, once again, Hill and Waddle. Those guys can take those screens for touchdowns easily.
And most
you can't play off and you can't play close man. So you're gonna have to play like a middle man press sometimes with a mix of cover 2 zone. And I want to see a lot of cover 2. I got to see a lot of cover 2. So it's going to be tough to see what he's going to do with that. And they're a tough offense to, figure out because they have a lot of weapons and a lot of ways they can beat you. You can't spread out too thin in the box because their run game has really gotten going this year and they've really been able to use it well. So you've got to worry about all facets. It's watching this offense reminds me of how I felt other teams probably felt playing the Eagles last year. Like we could beat you in any way last year. We could beat you in the air. We could beat you on the ground. And we can just kind of mix it up sometimes and still beat the crap out of you. And that's the way this team looks right now. They can do it in all aspects. So, and I'm worried about Josh Jobe. I'm terrified of Josh Jobe. I will be forever. And at some point, you're going to see Tyreek Hill catch a big bomb over Jobe. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know why Jobe will be covering Tyreek Hill, but you can bet your freaking ass that it's going to happen.
Oh, goodness. All right, Matt. How do you see this game going? How do you see it playing out? What do you want to see from our team?
Like I said, I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I do want to I don't even know what I want to see us doing, to be honest. The only thing I want to see from us is offensive adjustments. That's the big thing. That's the only thing I'm looking for this game. Otherwise, they can keep doing what they've been doing. But aside from that, I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm very iffy on who's going to win this game after what we saw last week, of course. But considering we are an Eagles podcast, you can assume I'm going to have us winning this game. So with that being said, I am going to say this is going to be I'm going to think 31-24 for the Eagles. I've said 31 a lot this season. I don't know why I have such a weird obsession with 31. But if there's an over on the game, I say you smack it because these are two offenses that can score early and often. And I expect to see a lot of points in this game.
Yeah. I think we kill them. I am not scared of this team. I don't care. I'm scared of their speedsters. I am not scared of their defense. And I think if we can contain the long ball and not have these crazy plays, which they will, because Waddle's going to – if we have Waddle in the slot and if no one guarding him, he's going to go off for like 200 yards. But despite that fact, I think that when we do get our stops, they're going to be huge stops, and I think we can capitalize them a lot. Tua has a tendency that he does throw picks when pressured. He has played very well this season, but against these teams that aren't that great. And I think that we get these big stops, and I think our offense, which I pray, and I know they will, because they seem to show up for these games. We're wearing a Kelly Green jersey. Think that doesn't even like add like a little bit. That just has to be like, oh, let's go. A little bit more swag.
They want to get that win for sure.
I think we win 38-21. I really think we just blow. I love this team. I really think that this is where we all come together and we focus up and tune it all back to, all right. I think the conversation after this game is going to be, are the Dolphins actually a good team, or are the Eagles actually good? Because they're going to say the Eagles suck somehow. So that's how ESPN does everything. So I don't know, man.
I've been shocked by the lack of slack the Eagles have been catching over this Jets loss. So
it's kind of even WIP. It's like the callers in, they're just like, it's just like very odd. It's very like we're just like already past it. I just already feel like we're just like, yeah, that happened. Like that sucked. Like
watching the game, you just had a weird feeling throughout the game that it just wasn't our game to win. Even when we had the lead, it didn't feel secure. We were making mistakes at the timing of our mistakes was always horrible, and it just didn't feel like it was destined. Two things that made me realize we were losing the game, like we mentioned earlier, was when Devontae Smith dropped 2 passes and Jake Elliott missed a field goal. And I was like, all right, this just is not our day, clearly, on all facets. So,
yeah. Well,
it's something that, it's bound to happen at some point in the season, and it doesn't hurt to happen against a team like this because, it's, I don't know. I just don't think that anybody was truly upset about it as long as we make the adjustments that need to be made.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If they lose this game, people are going to be furious, and I honestly think it's going to
hurt a
lot more.
Doors will be knocked down, namely Brian Johnson's.
I think this is a very important game.
It's going to be pretty chaotic if we don't see any
I really think it's an important game for the turn of the season, honestly. I think this is all right, no more excuses of just getting started, rustiness. It's turn it on now. What are you? What are you made of right now? This is a game where it's all right, you got everything set for you. The stage is set. I'm going to perform, or are you just going to go back in the shadows? And if we do, then I think this little buzz in the locker room talk I don't even know if it's existent. I don't know if ESPN just likes to try to cause chaos, which they do. They're just oh, Devonta Smith's not getting the ball enough, and AJ Brown's not getting the ball enough. I just shut up. We're gonna be
Brown
fine.
Gets 8 receptions for 130 yards every game, and Devonta Smith,
But that was after he went up to Hurts. I don't know what McNabb made a point during on WIP. He said that they're trying too hard to force people the ball and making a feature play, and like we talked about earlier, not stringing plays together. So I don't know. He'll get the ball. I don't know I don't know. I just want us to just game flow, read the room. We can.
I think that you want to hear what I have to say about Donovan McNabb. Stupid ass Donovan McNabb is still salty about Terrell Owens and the situation he dealt with when he was here, and he talks about it every freaking year and tries to relate it to something that's going on now. Shut up! It's not the same thing. And not only that, but AJ Brown mentioned in his response to that statement is dude, you should know better than to bring that out in the public and try to say that if you're trying to go out in public and tell me to get my shit together to make sure the locker room is okay, then why are you going to the media and making it a problem? He knows better because he's dealt with it. Donovan McNabb, I will always love what Donovan McNabb did as a quarterback for Philly, but I absolutely hate Donovan McNabb. I think he sucks as a person. I always have. But hey, we're just going to leave that at that.
Jeez. That was Donovan McNabb hate.
Oh, I do not like Donovan McNabb. I never have. I just think he's an asshole. He always tries to make everything about himself.
Well, that's fair. That is a good point of what he does. But let's make it about the Phillies today and make it about the Eagles on Sunday. Right now, it is tied at the end of the second inning, 0-0. And hopefully we finish the game before. It would be nice if we finished it, even if we didn't take it today before Saturday. That way we can just focus on Sunday and for the Eagles. That'd be cool. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be
Am I asking too much?
It would be nice.
Am I asking too much?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm not asking for. I'm just asking for 5, 4 or 5. All right.
All right, you guys heard it here first, guys. 4 or 5 for Maslij. I think we can get it done. But
Red October.
Let's go, Phils. We're definitely rooting for them. They've been killing it this Red October, and hopefully we'll be seeing them, get through this championship series and onto the World Series soon enough. Sooner than later, hopefully.
Yes.
So,
yeah, for sure.
Lastly, thanks again for tuning in, guys. We always appreciate it. If you're watching this video, please feel free to like it and then subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. We always appreciate everybody tuning in. And don't forget to check back next week on the update for next week's game against the Dolphins. We'll be talking about that game as well as next week's game past that point. So stay tuned. We will have news for you soon, hopefully good and not bad. So once again, thanks for stopping by. We always appreciate it, and we will be seeing you guys next week. Go Birds and go Phils.
Yes, sir.